Peace, family. What's going on? So the title of this video is the rent in the U.S. has doubled 2 times the amount since the year 2000, right? Yeah, I know that's, as we're speaking right now, that's 25 years ago, but for rent to double in that number is phenomenal. It's not, it's not something that's small or something that, that you can say that, oh, it should go up, in time. You know what I mean? Because when you think about it, you're not rent and paying for a cost of living is not supposed to be continuously going up. That was never the idea of cost of living, right? First of all, we shouldn't even have a cost of living. But when we were paying rent prior to this big housing downturn, rent in most places used to be on average between $600 to $700, per 2-bedroom. You know what I'm saying? And it's changed, man. I mean, you're looking at, for a 2-bedroom nowadays, if you living over where I'm living at, in sunny California, you're looking at about 2,500 plus, 1 bedroom on up. You know what I'm saying? So it's really ridiculous right now. And like I said, now people are probably listening to the video and they think that this is just something that I came up with. No, this number is a number that has been bar charted and statistically put out by a TransUnion. You guys know TransUnion is one of the 3 major credit bureaus, right? Now TransUnion got some issues going on, but I mean, if anybody's gonna know how the housing market and pricing and things like that is, TransUnion is a good one, because you need to have credit in order to even get a place to live. So they definitely have the statistics. So it's crazy. I mean, some people right now are check to check, and they really don't even know if they're gonna be able to pay next month's rent. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just so damn sky high. Like I said, it depends on where you live, but at the end of the day, like I said, we weren't supposed to have no cost of living. But in the 2000, between 2000 and 2010, the rent just is skyrocketing, man. It started moving upwards, and I always find this conversation to be controversial, because the real estate investor or the renter per se, they find it as rewarding. They sit back and they put their low investment money in, but they sit back and collect and watch the rent price escalate. And most cities don't have what they call rent control, and if they did have it, is they're banning it. They're completely just leaving rent control out, and they're just sitting back and they're collecting, man, and watching the the rent prices go up. And it's controversial because people say, well, if it wasn't for the real estate investor, you wouldn't have a place to live. But in all actuality, if you didn't have a renter, you wouldn't be able to make any money. So it kind of works both ways. And at the same time, these real estate investors should be worried. If anything, I'd be worried. Nothing of unbalance lasts forever, because things always collapse or crashes at some point when something is too far off balance. And we all know the housing market right now is too damn high for no damn reason. And at some point, you know, it's going to come, you know, crashing down, you know, and everybody that, you know, got, you know, homes and places like that, like a couple years ago, a few years ago, they're going to feel it the worst. They're going to feel it way worse than someone that got that same place, or someone that got that place, you know, a decade or two ago, you know, because the people that just got it a few years ago, you know, they're all in. You know what I'm saying? And if you're anybody of terms of, you know, Vegas or betting, when, you know, when you're all in, you're all in. Like there's there's no turning back. So whatever happens after that, whatever the result is after that, you know, it's going to be on you. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, so right now the real estate investor is, you know, sitting back and collecting and obviously continuing to you know, raise these prices, you know. But like I said, that's not gonna last forever, man. People are overworked and underpaid, and at some point, you know, people are gonna just like stop, you know, because it's not humane to charge people, first of all, in order to live, and then second of all, it's disrespectful to overcharge people for something that has never really changed over the course of 3 decades. Like I said in my previous videos, when it comes to property, like with a house is just a house, and it's always going to be just a house, right? Yeah, you can make renovations and make it really nice inside, but at the end of the day, the house is only here to serve one purpose, and that's just to provide shelter upon you, you know. But until a house starts to, you know, elevate up off the ground out of the foundation and just kind of blast off and take you from one state to the next. Hold on, oh, it does that shit. And if it take, you know, when a house starts to take you from one state to the next state, then at some point you'll be like, okay, yeah, this house is worth $2.5 million. This 2-bedroom house or this 3-bedroom house is worth $2.5 million. I mean, but right now, like I said, there's no fucking difference from, you know, this place or that place. And then people are going to say, you know, the ones that think they know about real estate, they're going to say, well, people just buy these houses and they have these prices because of location, right? I mean, location, it is what it is too. I mean, there's nothing fucking spectacular from, you know, being in a place of a suburb and just, you know, something under a suburb. There's no real like massive difference. It's just an excuse in order to constantly raise prices on the common folk, because the common folk isn't going to stand up and fight for their rights, or they're not going to fight for the right to survive. So it doesn't matter what the reason being is, it should not be happening. And for people to be paying, you know, all this money for rent is like I said, is inhumane in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm not sure, you know, if you're watching this and you want to combat what I'm saying, because some people are fucked up in the head like that. Some people are watching this video right now and they're like, they can't wait till this video stops so they can get in my comment box and say, oh, he's crying, and oh, he's you know, he just needs to, you know, do this and do that, and you know, a person just needs to, you know, just to pay the rent, man. Just get the shit paid and don't complain about it. You know, that person is watching right now, and like I said, you're a fucking idiot. In my other videos, I'm gonna say it in this video, you're a fucking idiot. If you think that the common folk needs to consistently pay high rent every single year, pay more and more for the same fucking place, you must have been placed upon this planet, you know, with no fucking brain cells in your head, because that is absolutely fucking stupid. So in my opinion, they need to stop raising rents, because at some point this shit's gonna fucking collapse. It's a fucking bubble, And if no one's keeping it real with you guys, that's what it is. This shit, so you go out and you want to go and invest and drop, you know, a $500,000 down payment or whatever to go, you know, try to get a 1 point something million house or 2 point something to invest in real estate. You're making a grave mistake. You know, you do better just putting this shit into Bitcoin or something, you know, because like I said, it's a bubble. That's what it is. And it's going to come crashing down. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below, man. I know a lot of you guys, you know, may not live where I live. I'm in sunny California, LA, you know, so I pay, you know, a lot more than the majority of people watching this. And let me know where you're from, you know, if you pay a lot, and let me know what you think in the comments. So remember, this is a small channel, but we plan on doing big things. And if anybody's going to keep it real, I'm going to keep it real. So remember, the truth is in session. Peace.